courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. True friendship is a plant of slow growth, and must undergo and withstand the shocks of adversity, before it is entitled to the appellation. It is better to offer no excuse than a bad one. Associate with men of good quality if you esteem your own reputation, for it is better to be alone than in bad company. Human happiness and moral duty are inseparably connected. Happiness depends more upon the internal frame of a person's own mind than on the externals in the world. I hold the maxim no less applicable to public than to private affairs, that honesty is the best policy. I hope I shall possess firmness and virtue enough to maintain what I consider the most enviable of all titles, the character of an honest man. There is nothing which can better deserve our patronage than the promotion of science and literature. Knowledge is in every country the surest basis of public happiness. Let us therefore animate and encourage each other, and show the whole world that a freeman, contending for liberty on his own ground, is superior to any slavish mercenary on earth. My first wish is to see this plague of mankind, war, banished from the earth. It will be found an unjust and unwise jealousy to deprive a man of his natural liberty upon the supposition he may abuse it. Observe good faith and justice toward all nations. Cultivate peace and harmony with all. A slender acquaintance with the world must convince every man that actions, not words, are the true criterion of the attachment of friends. Let us raise a standard to which the wise and honest can repair, the rest is in the hands of God. Liberty, when it begins to take root, is a plant of rapid growth. Wherein you reprove another, be unblameable yourself, for example is more prevalent than precepts. The hour is fast approaching, on which the honor and success of this army, and the safety of our bleeding country depend. Remember, officers and soldiers, that you are free men, fighting for the blessings of liberty, that slavery will be your portion, and that of your posterity, if you do not acquit yourselves like men. Unhappy it is, though, to reflect that a brother's sword has been sheathed in a brother's breast, and that the once happy plains of America are either to be drenched with blood or inhabited by slaves. Sad alternative! But can a virtuous man hesitate in his choice? Decision-making, like coffee, needs a cooling process. The alternate domination of one faction over another, sharpened by the spirit of revenge, natural to party dissension, which in different ages and countries has perpetrated the most horrid enormities, is itself a frightful despotism. But this leads at length to a more formal and permanent despotism. Of Congress, party disputes and personal quarrels are the great business of the day, whilst the momentous concerns of an empire are but secondary considerations. That business of a trifling nature and personal concernment withdraws their attention from matters of great national moment. Some day, following the example of the United States of America, there will be a United States of Europe. No pecuniary consideration is more urgent than the regular redemption and discharge of the public debt. On none can delay be more injurious, or an economy of time more valuable. George Washington famously warned against ungenerously throwing upon posterity the burden which we ourselves ought to bear. Liberty, when it begins to take root, is a plant of rapid growth. Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence. Arbitrary power is most easily established on the ruins of liberty abused to licentiousness. Every day the increasing weight of years admonishes me more and more, that the shade of retirement is as necessary to me as it will be welcome. The reflection upon my situation and that of this army produces many an uneasy hour when all around me are wrapped in sleep. Few people know the predicament we are in. Let your conversation be without malice or envy, for it is a sign of a tractable and commendable nature, and in all cases of passion admit reason to govern. A man ought not to value himself of his achievements or rare qualities of wit, much less of his riches, virtue, or kindred. Interwoven as is the love of liberty with every ligament of your hearts, no recommendation of mine is necessary to fortify or confirm the attachment. For myself the delay may be compared with a reprieve, for in confidence I assure you, with the world it would obtain little credit that my movements to the chair of government will be accompanied by feelings not unlike those of a culprit who is going to the place of his execution, so unwilling am I, in the evening of a life nearly consumed in public cares, to quit a peaceful abode for an ocean of difficulties, without that competency of political skill, abilities, and inclination which is necessary to manage the helm. The great mass of our citizens require only to understand matters rightly, to form right decisions. If the cause is advanced, indifferent is it to me where or in what quarter it happens. It is better to be alone than in bad company. Harmony, liberal intercourse with all nations, are recommended by policy, humanity, and interest. We should not look back unless it is to derive useful lessons from past errors, and for the purpose of profiting by dearly bought experience. My mother was the most beautiful woman I ever saw. I had rather be on my farm than be emperor of the world. How far you go in life depends on your being tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant of the weak and the strong. Because someday in life you will have been all of these. Religious controversies are always productive of more acrimony and irreconcilable hatreds than those which spring from any other cause. Associate yourself with men of good quality if you esteem your own reputation, for it is better to be alone than in bad company. The nation which indulges toward another a habitual hatred or a habitual fondness is in some degree a slave. It is a slave to its animosity or to its affection, either of which is sufficient to lead it astray from its duty and its interest. The nation which indulges toward another a habitual hatred or a habitual fondness is in some degree a slave. It is a slave to its animosity or to its affection, either of which is sufficient to lead it astray from its duty and its interest. Experience teaches us that it is much easier to prevent an enemy from posting themselves than it is to dislodge them after they have got possession. George Washington. To be prepared for war is one of the most effective means of preserving peace. Much was to be done by prudence, much by conciliation, much by firmness. Speak not evil of the absent, for it is unjust.